Well, I get it. I understand everyone's frustration. I absolutely do, and we're working extremely hard to make the adjustments we have to make, and Ken is doing the same. So I remain confident in Ken and our offensive staff, and we continue to work hard at improving and getting the results we're all looking for.
I think that we got a group that I got a lot of respect for and a lot of love for. I love these guys, I really do. And I want to make sure I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we're putting them in the right position where they feel comfortable that they can go out and play.
Okay, I wanted to start with that because that was just 2 hours ago. So we had heard from Sean McDermott and we heard from Ken Dorsey, as we do on Mondays. And like I said before the break, I legitimately thought there was a chance that they made a change today. That's probably a bit unrealistic, but at the same time, the fact that we're even having this conversation is pretty indicative of just how bad it has gotten. Is it time to have the conversation?
I don't think it's unrealistic to have thought that it could have happened today. I think it would have been unrealistic after the Patriots game because at that point in the season you're like, okay, you still have some time to figure it out. But now they're at just this point of the year where they're 5-4. I mean, they just lost to the Bengals. Obviously, that's a tough team that they went up against. But you have one semi-reprieve against the Broncos coming up, who, by the way, just beat the Chiefs and are coming off their bye week.
Don't forget, Joe, the Bills lost to New England.
Yeah. That's true. But then after that, you have Jets, Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers. So if there was a point in time to make a move before things really got tough, it would probably be now, just past the halfway point in the season. And there's a certain point of like, okay, how much of it is Ken Dorsey? How much of it is the players on the field? Whatever the case may be, if your offense is inherently, as Howard said, broken, and it's struggling to put consistent efforts week in and week out, it has to fall somewhere. It has to be on someone. This is, and to push back on something you said in the last segment that I wanted to get to, I think this is one of the best offensive environments in terms of talent that has been around Josh Allen since he's been there, not only from pass catcher perspective, because Dalton Kincaid is a stud. Yeah. Stephon Diggs is awesome, and he's still great. But the offensive line is the best Josh Allen has ever had since he has been in the league from a pass blocking perspective. All that said, if they have all of these things working in their favor and something still just isn't firing, if something is still kind of stale, if something just feels a bit disjointed and off, it's either the guy who's slinging the ball around, and if you're not willing to go that far, then it's going to be the guy who's trying to coordinate the whole effort, and that in that case would be Ken Dorsey. And it goes far beyond that. It's about predictability. It's about evolving and a lack of evolution from the time when he first took on the job to what he is now. It just feels stale right now. So I don't think it would have been unrealistic at all if they were to change coordinators today.
Couple things. One, I think you named the two guys, and the list stops after Diggs and Kincaid right now in terms of pass-catching weapons. Gabe Davis is
James Cook, too.
Is a number two receiver. Now, in Davis's defense, they targeted the guy twice. Yeah. So I'm not sure how much he was going to do last night. But he's not consistent. Sherfield's done next to nothing. Hardy's done next to nothing. Knox was underachieving. Now, I'm not wiping the blame away from Ken Dorsey. Quite honestly, guys, I've always avoided being a throw someone into the volcano guy. This season is at its breaking point right now. Yeah. We went from, hey, is the offense having an issue a few weeks ago to they might not make the playoffs. The 2023 Bills might miss the playoffs entirely. Why? Because of the offense. Sorry, it has to be. This defense isn't good enough to win games for this team. They're not even good enough to close out a game with a lead. No. And it's not their fault. They're undermanned. The offense has to be carrying this team and playing at a very high level. They're averaging 20 points in the last 5 games.
That's crazy.
You're not trading the quarterback. The trade deadline passed. You change the play caller because you know what? If you don't, your season's in the crapper.
Yeah.
Now.
Let's be very realistic about this. There will be somebody who takes the blame for this if things do not get better. And I can promise you that it's not going to be Josh Allen, and it's not going to be Sean McDermott. Process of elimination, everybody. If these struggles continue, it's not if they make a change, it's when they make a change. I don't think we get to that immediately, but a couple more weeks of this and we're having a different conversation.
So the special teams coordinator?
Yes, that's what they're going to do.
Look,
that's exactly
if they would have lost, I didn't think they were going to win the game, okay? But if they would have lost 35-32, and it was the 13 seconds game where the offenses are just going, okay, I wouldn't be freaking out. They scored 18 points.
Yeah.
This offense can't carry the Bills, and if they can't do it, they're not going to be in the postseason.
And that's the thing that's so frustrating, too, if you're a Bills fan, because last night was a winnable game with the way your defense performed. The Jets game was a winnable game with the way your defense performed. The Patriots game was a winnable game. And time again, the offense has failed them. You look like you're about to say something. Do you want to say something?
Yes, the craziest part is it's in there somewhere because that first drive was electric.
Yeah.
They averaged 12.1 yards per play. They looked like they were about to go toe-to-toe with the Bengals the entire game. And then from there, they averaged a little under 20 yards per drive over the next 8 drives.
They had first downs
total
on the first drive. They had first downs on 5 straight plays.
Yep.
They had like 3 or 4 first downs the rest of the first half.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to get to some of the comments today, the post-game comments and the Zoom comments today, really make you wonder about the people in charge with this football team right now and what they're doing.
They marched the ball 85 yards on the first drive of the game when they scored 7 points. In the remainder of the first half, they had 37 yards, which is nuts. Okay, we could talk about the offense probably for the entire show, but at some point we should talk about the defense. They were good, but they also didn't get off the field when they needed to. That and more. You're watching Leading Charge.